Before video begins, I would like to invite you for the first Q&A session for this year that usually is for patrons only, but this time it's available for everyone. In the description of the video, you are able to find a link when you can post your questions. Enjoy the video. Hello everyone, Venris here, and we are on the second, it's the second modding progress update for SFO Grimhammer 3. Many stuff changed since the last update, and especially in this video I will be showing you some progress. But before we begin, big thanks goes to patrons. Patrons are getting this video sooner than it is public, so depends if you are a patron or not patron, it's a different date you are watching it. I'm recording at end of the March, and whoa, many stuff happened since the last progress update. Many good stuff, so today's news will be way better. But before we properly begin, recently I was on Patronite Forum 2022. It's like a big convention in Poland that invites people that gets funded from crowdfunding. I was a sort of a guest of honor because I worked there for quite some time, a few years back, and I know most of the crew and most of those creators. You can see me here with some of the most influential YouTubers, podcasters, etc. in Poland, and those are very talented people. On such convention we always talk about things that we can improve in our community and other stuff that will be better and beneficial for you, so supporters and community members. I will be adding some stuff from the feedback that I gathered in a very near future, but I don't want to spoil more about it because this is a video about modding. So last time we talked, there was like a very bad situation because we were on a stage of trying to make stuff working, like fixing the abilities, checking the errors in the tables, etc. And I can gladly say that we are almost past that stage. So we transferred almost all SFO 2, so Warhammer 2 abilities changes to Warhammer 3. We are not touching Warhammer 3 abilities, not in a big margin right now, but most of the SFO 2 abilities changes were transferred to Warhammer 3. We have some small problems, but they are more like a balance than mechanical problems, because right now there's a big change in terms of how damage abilities are working, because in Warhammer 2 you were able to check percentage. There was a table that was doing that each second, for example, you're able to make that this ability has 25% chance to hit. Now all abilities are 100% chance to hit, so we needed to readjust the values, so we are making the average percentages etc. and making the damage values from it. It will make some stuff a bit more clear, but overall it's mostly about the spells, and the spells will have a bit different balance in SFO 3 because we want to make spells way different than the normal abilities. And what are the normal abilities? Because in vanilla the difference between spells and the normal abilities are not that big, because you have only differences are the Winds of Magic and Mistcast cost. So in SFO we are making that normal abilities overall in most cases have longer durations but also longer cooldowns, so you don't need to click let's say Foe Seeker. In vanilla it's 60-second cooldown, in SFO it's 90, so you don't need to click every 60 seconds to get that ability. it's not even that about making things less micro intensive. We just want to make that you don't need to, click everything, especially if you have several heroes. It can become troublesome, and normally in vanilla I was freezing a game to do, or slowing it down in the battles to do it. So we want things to be a bit more smooth. In terms of spells, it's a different thing, because we will be making that every spell will be balanced in terms of based on their cost. So for example, if a spell X is having 10 winds of magic cost, then its cooldown, the base cooldown, will be 50. So 5 seconds for each mana cost. It means that spells will be much more, let's call it, spammable, but also more dangerous, because in SFO all spells have miscast chance, all of them, not only the overcast versions. So yeah, that would be the difference. Also, there is like a terms of balance, but why we are doing this for abilities, why we are changing the durations and cooldown. I'll give you a very good example, because I was working on Khorne and Cathay abilities recently, and one of the Cathay, I think it was Alchemist ability, and it had a duration of 12 seconds, and it was giving 40 melee attack, something like that. I don't want to lie here, but it's giving you one unit a buff of 40 melee attack for 12 seconds. Okay, let's go with math right now. Most units are attacking in intervals of 4 seconds. Of course, it also depends on the animation. So let's say in interval of those 12 seconds, how many times such a unit is able to attack? Most cases 2, because of the animation, but it's not 100% chance that it will hit. So this hit cannot land even. What about if a unit is attacked and it got staggered, it flinched back or get knocked back? So this 12 seconds, and also it's only for the front of the squad, because only those units are attacking, it means that this ability is useless. To be honest, the number is looking big, but its duration is 12 seconds, so I think it's useless. It doesn't matter that you can spam it every 30 seconds or 45 seconds. It's useless in such a way. So we want abilities to have a longer duration, let's say 30 seconds in this example, so it really buffs the unit and unit is able to do several attacks with it, but the cooldown is longer. And overall, this is the balance that we had in SFO 2, and we are just transferring it to SFO 3. So you know why are those changes. Also, you can see the new abilities UI changes that we are making right now, because new unit cards, I made a video about this, was talking about it in the previous video, are quite terrible. I'm still finding errors there and sending them to CA. I hope they will address this issue someday, maybe, but we are starting to make a small adjustment. They require a lot of work, maybe not that a lot of work, but some work, but will makes things way more clear. You can see the Scarbrand breath attack right now, and you can now see number of projectiles. This is quite important, because the unit card, ability card, is showing only the damage of the projectiles. You can see the number of projectiles and AoE of their explosion. You see, this is a big difference, because, for example, the non-Scarbrand version, the Bloodthirsty one, have less projectiles and less damage. Okay, so if you would be comparing them in vanilla, let's say, you would see that they're on a different damage, which is a lie, because they have different amount of projectiles. And we will be making such adjustment to everything. For example, we have this aura that we changed. It's a Cathay aura. Don't mind the red stuff, because we are not able to overwrite tables right now, so the values that we don't want on this ability, we just change to 0. But this is an example of ability that we made that it does not affect the caster anymore. So you have info does not affect self. Quite simple. Something that we need to add is, especially that in Warhammer 2, such information were generated. Also, this is an example of an ability that you can see that had this information built on. So sad things for me, but we are working on making it as clear as possible. So this is like a main focus right now, the abilities, the battles, everything to be as clear as possible. Oh, and also the thing that we are want to change, looking here, you can see that this unit has a lot of attributes and passive abilities, and all of them are in the same category. And in the future, we want to make that attribute icons will be looking way different than the passive. And probably it will be different frame. So when you look on your unit, you ASAP see that he, she, it had more attributes or abilities. I think this will help a lot in the future, especially for the new players, because they will be looking like this unit has tons of abilities, and you're hovering at those are not abilities, so attributes, a big difference. Yeah, so this will be like a UI change that I think will be helpful for everyone. Okay, but let's go to the meaty grind. And as we are talking about meaty grind, it's about Khorne, because right now we made the balance changes to units of Khorne and Cathay. Around 95% of them are done, and I'm quite happy with those changes. I will be talking about most important of them. The full list can be seen by our patrons on our SFO patrons Discord. And let's start with Khorne. Khorne, overall, we did not want to change him as much, because I like the roster, but there are some problems, let's call it. First of all, the biggest change, I posted it on Twitter some time ago, the Skull Cannon. Skull Cannon is now 3 models, you can see here, and I think that unit is working way better that way, and it have use. It's still not like the best artillery, etc., but it's a very good mobile artillery unit right now, and not a single entity, especially that those cannon motors bikes are not that big, so we decided to make them 3 models. It will be a bit easier. Talking about the Blood Shrine, this is also the thing that I teased. We have a new ability for it that the mounted version for the lords and heroes won't be getting. So you can see this ability. Still need adjustments, but it will change the unit to be more like a damage sustained buffer for units around. So it's still worth it to make a unit, even if you have a hero or a lord with this mount. This is a change that we will be trying to do for everything in future. For War Compass, Cathay, the what's the name? I don't remember the name of that card that Necromancers got. It was in the Grim in the Grave DLC. Yeah, but you know what I mean. So every unit that is a mount and non-mount, we want to make difference. Maybe not in terms of abilities, just maybe different stats, but we in SFO 3 want to make that unit and mount are a different thing, and both have their use. What are the other changes we want to make in future? That Furies, Warhounds and Chaos Spawns are a bit different in compared to the other gods, but this change will be adjusted when we have proper balance for every god's unit. And for example, we want to make that, let's say that Khorne Chaos Spawn is a single entity. Yeah, so Khorne will be a single entity. Let's say the Zinch one will be a bit smaller, but more of them. So we'll be working, let's say it's more like frontline, like a Zinch frontline, the thing that he is in dire need of right now, as an examples. Maybe they will even add a small attack to it, AoE, things like that, but we want each of those units to be way different. Only the normal version will stay on Beastman and Warriors of Chaos. So we are trying to differ the rosters. Same goes with the Furies. Furies probably will just have different small abilities. When the base stats will be the same, the abilities will be just different on each version. So we'll see bit bigger difference. And the last change in Khorne that I really think we made a proper one, we have the Blood Crusher, and I need to check the name because I always have problems with those. Yeah, the bulk blood crushers of Khorne and skull crushers of Khorne, and we made them way more tanky. They are like a real mass monsters, because in vanilla they had smaller mass than Demigryph Knights, which I found weird because they are mechanical demons. They should be very bulky, very resistant to knockback, etc. So we increased that by a lot. And we changed the roles also because we want both of them to be the same tier right now, so both units are the same tier. And blood crushers of Khorne, blood crushers are the one that blood letters are on. I always have problems which one is with which. Blood crushers are more shock cavalry, anti-infantry unit, so you're using it to charge, kill some stuff and then get back. When skull crushers are like anti-large right now, because they have spears, you know, so a small anti-large, and they are way more tanky. So this is a unit that you're sending against enemy cavalry and they can stay there and they will be fine. When the blood crushers are unit that you should cycle charge it. Okay, only small change that I can also add, that the soul grinders, we found a use for them, and some they are mostly will be wall breakers, so they will be destroying enemy walls, barricades, gates, etc. in very easy way, because they have a higher multiplier in the damage against them. There are tons of changes. I will be talking about all of them. Almost no changes to Scarbrand, Bloodthirster Heralds of Khorne, Bloodletters and Cultist of Khorne, besides small adjustments to the abilities. Okay, let's move to Cathay, and Cathay, woohoo! Tons of changes in terms of Cathay, because we want them to be, let's call it a slow, tanky infantry that is able to sustain damage when other things are doing the damage. So the gunpowders, the artillery, etc. And tons of changes to the abilities. I will be talking about any of those because there are a lot of abilities there that are useless, like I was saying. For example, that this ability that had 12 seconds duration, that was very bad. But and we want Cathay to be more tier-based infantry right now. So tier 1 will be peasants right now, and they will be, let's call it, a bit better than the Bretonnian men-at-arms. A bit better, but weaker than the state troops of the Empire. Then we have Jade Warriors, and Jade Warriors will be more on the level of High Elf Spearmen. So higher than the state troops. And then we have the Celestial Dragon Guard, and Celestial Dragon Guard will be on the level of Blackguard, but maybe not Blackguard, like a better greatsword for the Empire. Yeah, so we want to have those different sets of units. Peasants will be your units that go and die, but they are able to sustain some, so basic infantry. Jade Warriors, because of their numbers, will be more about dealing damage. So they are like your main infantry that's dealing damage, when the Dragon Guard are the units that are not the best in damage, but will be uber tanky with less unit, but very hard to kill. Best unit to send to a choke point, so they will sustain for a very long time. Crane Gunners are another unit that I found quite useless in vanilla, and we decided that the biggest problem there is their formation, because they're way too spread out. They are spread out like like Giselles from the Skaven, and found why such a change. So we made them way more organized, way more compact, better shields, and they are shooting way faster, because Cathay is the home of gunpowder, so we decided that overall gunpowder units in Cathay would be shooting faster than the Empire one or the Dwarf one, but less accurate. You know, we're working like a fireworks, things like that. The last major changes to the units of Cathay would be the Sky Lanterns. Sky Lanterns, so the smaller balloons. We changed the number of units in the squad to 2. Because after the test they were quite terrible, let's be honest. And the other thing, that all the balloons had the Eye of the Dragon ability, something like that, that was increasing the spot range and leadership map wide, and we thought that this ability more or less is useless. So we made that balloon itself having a higher, very high spot range right now, around 300 meters. But the ability of the dragon is now increasing the accuracy and reload time. I think I would need to check. You see the image of the ability on the screen, so it will be easier. So, and it's 100 meters around the unit, so I think better use of the balloon, and also we made the balloons fly a bit faster. More changes to characters of Cathay than the Khorne, because we made the names of those characters are a bit strange for me. It was the dragon-blooded Shogungengan, so the two lords. We made the yin and yang one a bit different. They have different stats and different contact effects. So one is more offensive, second is one more defensive. Magistrate or his abilities might way more powerful, but he's weaker, so he's like a supportive lord that is buffing all units around in a better state. We are still trying to make some better compromise with Iron Dragon and Stone Dragon, because they have very big problems in terms of their value when they are in the dragon form, and this is not the thing that we will be able to fix, I am afraid, because of all the animation problems, and they are just junky as code right now for me, and I don't like them. They look fantastic, but they are working as shit. Okay. And yeah, that will be all, I think, in this modding update progress. I hope that you like this form way better, because I want you to see the things that we are changing right now, and not only see my face while I'm talking about it. So yeah, thanks everyone's support, especially to the patrons that are helping with all the feedback and support lately. Remember that if you like SFO mod content, overall all my content, not only SFO but also the YouTube content, you can always support us to Patreon and PayPal. And also you can like this video, hit that notification button, or subscribe to the channel. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see each other quite soon, because next week I will be getting back to more videos making, because I didn't have the time of modding. I totally forgot. I hope you liked the review of the game that I made recently. It was my first attempt to making a game review. I know that some things could be better, but still I hope you like it. Next week we'll be getting back to cracking Total War Warhammer 3 with showing some in-game systems. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. That was Venris, and I'm out.